Hi folks, welcome back to Mastering Python. Today we're going to take things up a notch. We're going to start looking at control structures, specifically conditional statements. Now up to now we've looked at variables, at how to print things to the screen, but everything has been quite top down, so it's just been a sequence of instructions. What we're going to look at today is how to make decisions within these instructions, how to make your programs more dynamic. Up to now you've learned about variables, about how to print them to the screen, but your scripts have been quite simple with just one statement underneath the other. Today we're going to add a dynamic nature into your scripts where you can start making decisions and branching off into different directions. Imagine you're baking a cake and you're following a recipe, and the recipe says, if the dough is too dry, add a bit more water. This is exactly what a conditional statement is, and this is what we're going to look at today. You make the judgment. Is the dough too dry? Yes. Add water. Is the dough too dry? No. Don't add water. And this is essentially what conditional statements are. They take a statement, determine whether it's true or false, and depending on whether it's true or false, they go in one direction or in another direction. In Python, there are different ways to test for these conditions, and we're going to cover the if statement, the elif and the else clauses. We're going to look at nested conditionals. We're going to look at the ternary operator and the match statement. So we're going to cover a whole range of ways of making these decisions to guide the way that your script is going to execute. So let's not hang around much longer. Let's fire up VS Code and create a file called conditional.py. Right, so first thing, let's start by creating our file, conditionals.py. Now the simplest form of a conditional is the if statement. And the way that the if statement works is we have if, then our condition, and this is the condition that evaluates either to true or to false, and then a semicolon, followed by a block of code. So this is the code to execute if condition is true. Let's try it out. First of all, I'm going to comment this because it's not real code. And we're going to define a variable, say age equals 20. And we go if age is greater or equal to 18. So we create a condition that evaluates to true or false. So if age is greater or equal to 18, we print, hooray, you're an adult. Let's run this. Open our terminal, Python Conditionals.py. There we go. It says, hooray, you're an adult, because age is greater than 18. One thing that you'll notice is that we've introduced this indent, something that we've mentioned before. Now, what the indent does, it defines a new block of code, and anything that's within this block of code is going to be executed if the condition is true. So we could even write another statement here, print second line. And if we run this again, you see both of these get executed. Now, what we can do, we can have something outside of this block. This is outside of the block. It will also get executed because the sequence of steps of the script is it's going to evaluate your conditional and then it's going to print this. Now, what happens if we change our age to 14? So this conditional is no longer true. And we run our script. See, we only have this is outside of the block because this entire block does not get executed because age greater equal 18 evaluates to false. We can also test for something not being true. So if this condition evaluates to false, and an easy way of doing this is to add a clause here, which is called the else clause. And the else clause executes if the main block, the true block, doesn't. So here we can go print, hooray, you are still a child. And we can just get rid of this. Now, if we run this, we get, hurrah, you're still a child. And the flow is, it looks at the age variable. It determines is age greater or equal to 18. In this case, it is not greater to or equal to 18. So this block does not get executed, but it goes to the else. So if it's not this, do something else. And in this case, it prints hooray. And here we define a new block. And this is the basic if-else statement. It's a classic conditional statement that exists in pretty much all programming language. It's the core of what programming is. You take a condition, you say, does it do this? Then do this. If not, do that. But we can take it a step further. What if we want to test for several conditions? So in this case, we're just checking if age is greater or equal to 18. What if we want to test whether the person is a teenager or a child? So there's several conditions that could be true. And this is where the elif clause comes in. So it's kind of an else if statement. And we can go elif age greater equal to 13, we can print, hooray, you are a teenager. Now the age is 14. Let's execute this. And it says, hooray, you are a teenager. So let's break this down. The statement starts at the top, if age equal greater than 18. This is not true. So if it were true, this would get executed, but it's not true. So it goes to the next line of the statement. It goes to this statement. Here it checks, is age greater or equal to 13? And it's true, it is. It's 14, so it's greater or equal 13. So this block gets executed. Now, if this wasn't true, if age wasn't greater or equal 13, then this final else clause catches everything else. And we can try this out. What if we have age equals 10? Now, if we run this, there you go, hurrah, you're still a child. This evaluated to false, this evaluated to false, so we get this else catch. That's it. That's if, elif, else. A very, very fundamental conditional statement. We've seen that if the condition evaluates to true, then the consequent block gets executed. Now, in this block, we can have another conditional. Let me just quickly comment all of this out. And let's start with age equals 20, has license equals true. So we can start with our first conditional, if age greater equal to 18. So when this evaluates to true, something gets done, else something else gets executed. Now what do we want to test here? We want to test if somebody is allowed to drive. So we also test in this block, if has license is true, and these double equal marks, they test if something is. So they test for equality. They don't assign a value, but they test for equality, just like in the mathematical sense, a single equal sign. So we're checking has license is true. So if they're older than 18 and if they have a license, then we print you are allowed to drive. Now, if they don't have a license, we can have an else statement, print you are not allowed to drive, but you can take the test. And then finally, if they're less than 18 years old, we can go print you are too young to drive. Let's run this. There we go. You are allowed to drive. They're over 18 and they have the license. What if they don't have the license? If license becomes false, but they're still old enough. We run it. You're not allowed to drive, but you can take the test. Yeah? So if you go through this step by step, age is greater than 18. So we're going into this block. We're executing this block. If they have a license, license is not true. So this block doesn't get executed, but we're executing this block here. So you can see you can nest conditionals within other conditionals. And this is very useful sometimes when you're trying to make a complex decision. But as you can see, it can get quite difficult to follow the logic here. What if we introduced another if statement in this block? Things can get really, really complicated fast. So it's up to you as a programmer to make sure that you break things down into smaller steps. Great, so that was nested conditionals. Again, I'll just comment this out, Control/. The next thing I would like to show you is something called ternary operators. And it's great to program if-else with these blocks. It's very easy to follow, to read, but sometimes we just have a very simple decision that we want to compress into one line. And this is where the ternary operator comes in. And the way that we write the ternary operator is, this is the value if true, if, and then we have our condition, else value if false. So we can take our example from earlier. We can go age equals 20, print adult, if age greater equal 18, else child. Okay, so it follows the similar structure of if else. We have this condition in the middle. We're checking whether age is greater than 18. And if it is greater than 18, it executes this. If not, it executes this. So if we run this, they're an adult. Here we're just saving space and we're making the code more readable. We could have, of course, used our old structure of if and then a block, else and another block. But in some cases, when you're making quick decisions, it's a lot easier to write the ternary operator. Another really cool feature about Python, comment this, is something called short-circuiting when we have conditional statements. And I'll just quickly show you what I mean with short-circuiting and then I'll describe it. If we have a name, my name, Gunnar, and we can test if name is upper. Remember, we saw this in the last lecture. It checks whether everything is uppercase, then do something, then print uppercase. Now we can check for several things at the same time, and we can go and length of name equaled to 7. Okay. So we're testing whether everything is uppercase and whether the length of this variable name is 7 characters long. And here we can also have an else statement, print it's not. So for an AND statement to evaluate to true, in this case, this whole thing is the condition that we're testing. If we have an AND statement, and for AND to be true, both of the sides of the AND, so name is upper and length of name equal to 7, need to be true. If both are true, then the entire condition is true. Now what happens here is it evaluates the first one, name is upper, and this is not true, so Gunnar is not all in uppercase, so this already evaluates to false. And in this case, it doesn't even look at the second half of the AND statement, because AND can never be true if one of them is false, and in this case, the first part of the AND statement is false. Now, where this comes in handy is to avoid errors. If, for example, we have a value x equals 12, y equals 20, just some random variables, and we want to divide y by x, so we can go if y divided by x is greater than, say, 2, print success. Okay, so it's a very simple if statement. We're testing if y divided by x is greater than 2, and if it is, then we're printing out success. Now what happens if x is 0? You can't divide things by 0, so this will produce an error. We can test this. So if we make x 0, y divided by 0 greater than 2, if we run this, we get an error, 0 division error. We can't divide by 0. So in this case, we can use short circuiting. We can say if x not equal to 0 and, okay, here's a bit of new syntax. So this exclamation mark means not. So instead of testing for equality as we had up here, we can test for inequality by saying exclamation mark equal. So if x not equal to 0 and y divided by x is greater than 2. Now, as we saw up here with the short circuiting, it evaluates x not equal to 0. In this case, this statement is false because x is equal to 0. It doesn't even look at the second part, so we're not going to get an error here. We're just going to, oops, let me comment this, run this again. We're not getting any output. We can put an else statement here and print x equals 0. And then if we run this, the else statement gets executed. And we avoid this division by 0 error simply by short circuiting the conditional statement. You can do the same with OR statements. So for OR statements to be true, one of the two conditions has to be met. So if we go again, name equal Gunnar, we can go if length of name greater than 3 or y divided by x is greater than 2. So we have our example again. This should evaluate to an error because x is 0 and we can't divide by 0. And here we can go print success, else print no success. So in this case, it tests, is the length of the name greater than 3? Are there more than 3 characters? And is y divided by x greater than 2? So if we run this, we get success. And we don't get an error. This does not get evaluated because the first half of the OR statement already evaluates to true, so it short circuits the rest and executes the print success. Excellent. So comment this out, and there's one last thing that I would like to show you. Now, in the latest versions of Python, we have something called a match statement, and this is very useful if we're testing for a lot of possible options. Rather than writing if, elif, 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 else at the end, we can put all of this into one statement, into one match statement. Okay, and here's the syntax. We define a variable, so let's say name equals to Gunnar, and then we write match name. So we want to match this name up to several conditions. And the first case is we want to match it up to Mario. Is it equal to Mario? Then print it's Mario. We can also have another case. Let's say it is Peter. Print it's Peter. And then finally case Gunnar. It's Gunnar. And we can also have a blank case, something that's not been defined. And this is where we have this throwaway variable, just the underscore. We've seen this in the very first lecture about variables. So in this case, print, and we can go undefined. Let's run this. It's gonna, because the name is gonna, it then matches the name to any of these cases. It goes, is it Mario? No. Then it moves on. Is it Peter? No. It's gonna, yes, it prints it's gonna. What if here we said it's Mario and we run it and say it's Mario? But what if here we go, it's Fred? Run it, undefined. It goes to this final case of not being matched to anything. This is again this throwaway variable, this underscore. It writes undefined. This is a really neat way of testing conditions where you have a lot of different options rather than writing a very nested if-elif-else statement. So the match statement, very cool. It's also called a case statement in C++ and Java, a very efficient way of testing for a lot of conditions at once. And there you have it, folks. Conditional statements. Nothing to be worried about. Very, very straightforward. We've covered the if-elif-else statements, we covered nested conditionals, the ternary operator, how to short circuit, and the match statement. Now, on the website that goes with this course, you can find lots of exercises and examples of this. I'll put a link in the description. Please go to the site, download it, and try to write all of these exercises that I've put together for you. Next time we're going to look at loops, where we can make this even more dynamic. Rather than just making decisions, we can repeat certain actions over and over and automate things, something that Python is great for. Until that time, happy coding, and I see you in the next video.